Hi, this is Dr. Greg Bliss, and we're addressing the issue of video lecturing. And as we get into this subject, it's important to understand the theory in which multimedia is understood presently and what works best with the human brain. And this theory helps us understand, it's called multimedia theory, and it helps us understand what are the components that make a good and engaging video that allows the mind to focus in on the content. So first, let me introduce the concept of three different types of learning in terms of the way that the mind works and their forms of memory. So we have our initial contact of information. And with that initial contact of information, the data that's coming in, our senses have to filter out what not to bring into our working memory. So there's a filtering process. This lasts about anywhere from a third of a second to maybe a half of a second, where our mind is making up its decision to not listen to or see extraneous information, but to be focused. So there's always this engagement that's happening. Then the data that we're focused upon then goes into our working memory. And our working memory works for a certain period of time, working with the data that is given. And then the data moves over to the long-term memory. Basically, it's considered to be about 30 seconds. So it's about 30 seconds where the mind will hold the data in this focused space, and then it will shift it into long-term memory. Now, long-term memory is reinforced by going back and examining the same material, pulling it up in a different manner, associating it with other memories, other data in the mind. And that's how we really develop learning. So we can talk about different learning theories, etc., but that's the kind of neuroscientific view of what's going on. So there's three different stages. In that process, when something enters into the working memory and it's focused upon it, then we need to keep extraneous information out of the equation because there's only so much working memory. So if we have a lot of things going on in the background, we have other things that are happening that distract the center issue, which we call the salient center, or I call the salient center. It's where you're dealing with that information which is seminal, which is really to the heart of the matter, and that's the term that's used in the theory, is the seminal material. And that's what we're aiming at. So there's the extraneous, which really doesn't give us anything. It's just too much data and it distracts us. And it's hard when you're in a video situation because there's only one lens. You can't really eliminate that like you would do in the natural situation in the natural world. Your eyes can focus in on the face of the person you're talking to. In video, it's hard to do that because there's one perspective that you're receiving in the video. Okay, so now what we need to do is we walk through looking at various examples. I want you to see those examples where there's extraneous information that's being given, which really is not seminal, right? It's not to the heart of the matter. And we need to exclude that. So basically your initial video lectures as the discipline of video lecturing, if you will, has increased. Your early video lectures, there was not a whole lot of comprehension by professors and by multimedia partners and doing large MOOCs, what produced a really good product. And so we'll examine that, and I'll call that a 1.0 when you have a failed situation. Your lighting is fine, your sound is fine, but you're really not getting the extraneous information removed from the setting. And that would be a 1.0 version. And then you have a 1.5 version where you have the background is not extraneous, but it really isn't adding anything to the equation. And we'll examine that. And then you will finally come to a 2.0 version where the background is actually adding to, at least not taking away from, but in the case that we'll be examining, adding to the general cognitive environment to which the person is speaking, and does so in a manner which doesn't distract us from the information being conveyed. So this provides kind of the initial introduction of where we're going with this first assignment, and the next video clip that I'll be doing will go over the specific assignment and begin to look at the examination of the particular video clips, which I'll then explain when we're in that process. Thank you.